All right, Black Sash training, beginner type sheet. We are working on the details of these 10 very important postures, the 10 foundational Gohring postures. And if you were here in day class, Head Instructor Gohring took you through the compass, and that's what we'll do again. So I'll probably say all the same stuff. Hopefully, it's not conflicting. No, okay. But we'll talk about the details, and we'll practice a little more together and take a little more time with the posture than we get to in basic training. Okay, so let's begin. Let's try it. We'll go through it a little slower, spending a little more time on each stage and talking through it. Take a break after that, and you can see it, and then we'll practice a little more. So here we go. Back to your shoulder width. You can try a little wider if you want. Sometimes the hip can get a little bound up if you feel tight in your hips. Try a little wider, see how it goes. Stretch up through the body. I already talked about the sort of setting of the feeling of even extension here. So letting go of extra tension in the shoulders, learning to stretch evenly with the whole body. And here we go. Oh, also, before we begin moving through it, if you have the book of Gohring, there's a great resource in there, and it will say a lot of the same things. So one, you go to the right. And in the book, they talk about how rather than thinking of bending, I could actually think of continuing the feeling of extension and then just letting gravity take me one way as far as it will go with that feeling of extension. There's the image of the being in between two walls in front and behind, so you don't go forward or back or twist. Relax down through the body like you were in the first part of class. 2, relax the upper body down over the right foot. Yeah, the fingers are turned in. Arms are not straightened all the way. Keep a little rounded, connected feeling in the chest and arms. Maybe you can even see it from that angle. Pelvis tucked, right? I could try to reach farther and untuck, but that's not correct. Keep it tucked. Again, feeling like gravity is pulling it down. 3, reach straight forward. Upper body parallel to the floor. Here, let the legs be straight. And I like to think of almost pushing the floor with my feet and straightening like that rather than thinking of bending my legs back. So I think of pushing into the floor with my feet until my legs straighten. Feel that connect to the tucked pelvis. Stretch the fingers from the shoulders to the fingers. Feel an even extension. Chin tucked here just keeps the neck neutral. So you'll be looking down with relaxed eyes. 4, down over the left. It's the same thing as on the right. Head Instructor did a good job talking about how we don't move the hips to turn here, but the hips kind of stay where they are. We'll talk about that more again. Roll to your left. Roll to your right. And come back up. See if you can straighten with that same feeling of just extension. Other way, let the gravity pull. Keep your extension, feel where gravity, how far it takes you. It doesn't seem like it doesn't have to be way far. If it's just a little bit, that's all right. It'll be different for everyone, and it'll be different for you if you keep training. 2, down. Breathe forward. Forward, down on the right. 5, roll to the right. Through the side bend. Gently lean back. And after you've been doing this for a while, you can try to go back farther. But don't try to go back in your head. Keep the neck relaxed, extended. Roll back out to your left. And back up to the top. And to release, just let the hands come down. Okay. That one feels good to me. Hope it feels good to you too. So let's go through analytically. That was more experiential. Let's go through analytically, talk about each number through. And anything I say about the first time, the first direction is true for the other. So the left and the right directions should be the same, in how you execute it. It may not feel the same with everyone's body being different degrees of asymmetrical. Okay, so the first one we talked about a lot. I think we're good on that. If you can feel that connection between the feet relaxed on the floor and stretched fingertips. One we talked about. If you saw it from the side, you would want to not do this. You would want to not do this. You would want to not do this or this. Try to keep that like in a plane, right? P-L-A-N-E, like in a plane. Oh, yeah. Let's do this for the second one. So the second one, you might bend your legs to try to get lower. Don't do that. Keep them. And let's see, anything else to say about 2? This is just the analysis, so don't get frustrated if you're trying to do it. Don't try to do it yet. We'll do it again in a second. 3, show from the side. I wouldn't recommend you just try to get into any of these. I'm doing it instructionally, but it doesn't feel quite right. So I want you to come for 2, and then come up into 3. So common mistakes are to have the knees bent, or to lock them out all the way. Neither one's correct. They are straight, but I'm pushing through them to connect. You can also arch the back to try to get farther. If you look up, it'll probably happen naturally. Don't do that. Learn to feel that tucked in pelvis, giving you the straight arch in the low back. Feel that connect all the way up to the top of the head. So see if you can feel it come all the way up to the top of the head. Don't look up and strain the neck. And if you can imagine someone pulling on your fingers, that can kind of help you get the right extension. 3. Or 4, I guess. Yeah, same as before. Don't turn the hips, don't let the knees come in, the legs will stay pretty neutral. The waist will feel like you'll feel more weight on the foot that you're over, but it's the weight of your upper body. It's over that foot, if it makes sense. And then roll. So especially at first, have just like a little bit of bend through every part. Don't try to do it just in the neck, even though that will make it look like you've gone farther from your perspective. Try to bend even amounts through each part of the body. And then roll to release pressure. When we roll from the back position to the side, we want to take the pressure out of those lower vertebrae. And that's why I don't want to pop up from the back position straight up. I might injure my lower back. Okay. Try to think of what common questions would be. Usually it's about the knees being bent, or the feeling of parallel to the floor is also often not where people think it is. So if you have a mirror like you would have to the side of you in class, you can get into that and then just do a quick check. You can't watch yourself in the mirror while you do it, otherwise it'll mess it up. But you can do a check in the mirror and see where you are and where you feel like you are is the same, or how far apart that is. Let's see, anything else for the compass? Oh yeah, here's two sorts of perspectives on kind of the same idea of how it feels to move through it. So when you really do the compass, you can feel what we call the core these days working. So you can imagine that the movement from each part is actually generated from this part of the body. And as you're going between them, feel like you're sort of stretching the body, moving from the waist. Hey, maybe you've heard me say things like that before. Sometimes I feel like I've come up with something new, and then I realize I'm just telling you to move from the waist. So that's one way to look at it. You can also think of to keep the head suspended as almost like leading from that point. So it's another way to sort of trick your mind out of your normal motion into moving in slightly different ways. So if I imagine my head suspended and then I let the suspended go over in another direction. And then I can also, it can kind of help me move in more the correct way. When I come down, I can feel that head suspended going down, feel it come forward, which is different than if I'm looking forward, right? And then down, and especially on this one, if I can imagine leading with that top of the head suspended, I might find myself moving slightly differently and more connected. So things to play, things to try. And things to play with, things to try. Okay. And, oh wow, we're almost out of time for Black Sash training anyway. Let's go through each direction one more time. So this will be a short duration, don't strain. And let's try just a little more briefly in each one. And 1. And 2. Three. 4. If you find you're moving to any part with tension, do your best to get there by relaxing. 5. Feel the relaxed body roll through. Roll. Breathe. 6. 7. And let's even it out one more time to the left. 1. Focus on relaxation for this last time through. And that's not the limp relaxation, it's the extended, relaxed relaxation. 2. Flexible, extended relaxation. Breathe. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. And to release, lower the hands. Yeah, that's a really good one. Glad I got to do some today. Hope you enjoyed it. And let's bow out. We're a little late on this one, so we'll start Master's Path just a minute or two late. But let's do our life skill and bow out. Path of self-mastery requires a focused mind. A focused mind sees no obstacles. Path of self-mastery requires a focused mind. A focused mind sees no obstacles. Path of self-mastery requires a focused mind. Focused mind sees no obstacles. Black Sash training dismissed. Now to each other.